Are you looking for the best DSLR cameras in 2023 Top 7 DSLR Cameras Review Buying Guide? In this video, we will look at some of the best DSLR cameras in 2023 Top 7 DSLR Cameras Review Buying Guide on the market. For more details and price click product link, please check the description below. Before we get started with our video, number 1. Nikon D780. Short of looking at true pro cameras like the Nikon D850, you won't find a better full-frame DSLR than the Nikon D780. It has all the features you want in a high-end photography camera. For one, it's weather-sealed and built to last, with an incredibly long-lasting battery, so it can last for days of extensive use if needed. A tilting screen makes it easy to shoot from waist level, and the camera has a small top display so you can quickly check settings, battery life, and storage at a glance. The real standout feature of this camera is its hybrid autofocus system. It features an on-sensor phase detection autofocus system, borrowed from the mirrorless Nikon Z6, in addition to a more typical contrast detection system when shooting through the viewfinder. What that means is you get the best of DSLR tech and the best of mirrorless tech, but only when using live view in one camera, giving it serious versatility. While the D780 can pretty much do it all, the Canon EOS 5D Mark IV deserves a shout-out. It's showing its age now and lacks some of the fancier new tech options that Nikon put into the D780, but it's still hugely popular among professional photographers and hobbyists alike. You'll get fantastic image quality out of it, and it's built like a tank to withstand pro-grade use. But overall, the innovations and lower price tag of the D780 make it a better all-around pick. Number 2. Canon EOS 6D Mark II. The Canon EOS 6D Mark II is a great full-frame option that's a lot more affordable than the Nikon D780. It isn't as well built as the Nikon or its higher-end sibling, the Canon EOS 5D Mark IV, but it's still weather-sealed and has plenty of physical controls that make it easy for more advanced photographers to adjust settings on the fly. While the D780's newer, backside illuminated sensor gives it an advantage in areas like noise control and dynamic range, you'll still get amazing photos, along with a solid autofocus system, albeit not as reliable as the Nikon's. The biggest trade-off is that it can't shoot 4K video. You also lose out on a secondary SD card slot and headphone jack. Ultimately, this is primarily a photography camera, whereas a higher-end model like the Nikon offers better video capability for hybrid shooters. If you can live without 4K, however, this is still an excellent photography camera for the price. Number 3. Canon EOS 90D. If the Canon EOS 6D Mark II is out of your price range, stepping down to a crop sensor option will save you a lot of money and still get you great quality and performance. Unless you need the best image quality and lenses, you likely won't notice a huge difference in quality with an APS-C camera like the Canon EOS 90D, except maybe in low light, where it struggles a bit with noise. It's got a high-resolution sensor that can capture stunning images, along with a very good AF system. It's newer than that of the 6D, so you get both face and eye detection for more precise focusing. Also, it can record 4K video if that's a must-have for you. Like most Canon DSLRs, it has a super intuitive menu system and control layout, making it easy to use for experienced and novice users alike. It's also well-built, with a weather-sealed body and top display to easily keep an eye on your settings. And of course, battery life is excellent. All in all, you'll get high-end features and performance with this camera, but without the same level of build quality as a pro-grade model and, of course, the usual sacrifices that come with an APS-C sensor. Number 4. Canon EOS Rebel T8i. While the Canon EOS 90D delivers enthusiast-level features like weather sealing and more buttons and dials at a more reasonable price than a full-frame camera, a more affordable entry-level camera like the Canon EOS Rebel T8i will be even more suitable for beginners. However, it doesn't have as many bells and whistles. You don't get a top display or weather sealing, and it has fewer buttons and dials. However, you get an APS-C sensor that can capture high-quality images and access to the same lenses, with plenty of affordable EF and EFS lenses that you can upgrade to as your skills grow. The camera can also record 4K video, has an excellent autofocus system, and has very good battery life, everything you need and then some. The Nikon D5600 is also worth considering in this price range, especially if you need something a tad more portable, but it isn't as well-rounded, with no 4K and a less reliable autofocus system. Overall, the T8i is one of the most full-featured beginner DSLRs around, and it's a great option for those looking for something that falls in the sweet spot between budget and higher-end models. Number 5. Canon EOS Rebel T7/EOS 2000D. If you're on an even tighter budget and don't want to risk buying a used model, the Canon EOS Rebel T7/EOS 2000D is one of the best cheap options to buy new. At this price point, build quality feels cheaper and more plasticky than pricier models, and you don't get anything fancy like weather sealing or even a tilting screen. However, underneath that modest exterior is a high-resolution APS-C sensor that's still fairly capable in image quality. Since this is an older, cheaper model than the Canon EOS Rebel SL3 or the Canon EOS Rebel T8i, it doesn't perform quite as well in dynamic range and noise handling. However, it's still very good for the price, and you can always upgrade your lens down the line for better results. Number 6. Canon EOS R6 Mark Roman II. The Canon EOS R6 Mark Roman II is a strong all-around performer and among the best full-frame models you can get for the price. Core to the experience is an autofocus system that outclasses what you get from similarly priced Sony and Nikon models. It supports 12x tracking with its mechanical shutter and a staggering 4x with its e-shutter. And for video, you get full-width 4K 60 recordings with 10-bit color. Otherwise, it has a weather-protected magnesium chassis and 5-axis sensor stabilization. The R6 Mark Roman II is the best full-frame camera we've tested. Its autofocus and video specs outclass direct competitors, and we like the solid library of compatible RF lenses and accessories. Furthermore, the picture quality is strong in all kinds of light. Pros and enthusiasts alike should get good results from this one. However, there are alternatives. We like the Sony A7 Roman IV nearly as much, for instance, and recommend it instead if you want a higher pixel count and broader access to third-party lenses. Number 7. Canon EOS R7. The Canon EOS R7 is nearly purpose-built for snapping images of subjects in motion. If you enjoy capturing animals in the wild, sports, or any other fast-moving subjects, the R7 can keep pace. It smartly identifies and tracks people, pets, wildlife, and race cars. The 32.5 MP sensor matches well with telephoto lenses and leaves you some room to crowd. For video, the R7 supports 4K 60 and includes in-body stabilization for cinema and vlogs. Sturdy, weather-protected construction rounds out the feature set and makes the R7 a good choice for use outside of the studio. The R7 is ideal for both photo enthusiasts and pros, and an especially good fit for creators who photograph moving subjects. The camera focuses and fires at 15ths with its motion-freezing mechanical shutter, while its raw images show plenty of detail and hold up well to edits. Family photos may miss a built-in flash, however, which might lead you to mid-entry options like the EOS R10 or Fujifilm X-T30 Roman II instead. We also see the EOS R7 as a good backup camera for pros with an EOS R5 or R3, as well as SLR holdouts who want to upgrade from an EOS 7D or 90D series body.